The Central Bank of Nigeria has announced plans to establish an international financial center within the next year as a gateway for funds and investments into the country. This is in line with plans to accelerate investments into infrastructure. And joining us to discuss efforts to de-risk infrastructure projects for pension fund and other investors is Oguche Aguda, the CEO of the Pensions Fund Operators Association of Nigeria. Oguche, thank you so much for your time today. So many have been crying for pension funds to get into infrastructure, and we understand it. You've got to be conservative. You ought to ensure that that money comes back to those that need it when they do. But can you just speak to the progress that we're seeing in terms of de-risking those projects so that we can put in those pension funds?
Yeah, thanks. I think there has to be intermediaries that help with the de-risking process, and a couple of intermediaries have sprung up. One that comes to mind is InfraCredit, which is a AAA rated organization that sort of wraps some of these infrastructure transactions and gives irrevocable guarantees, which the pension funds rely on to invest in this infrastructure projects. And because of those guarantees and because of what they do within the chain, we're able to invest in infrastructure projects up to 10 years, 15 years, right, and able to bring first-time issuers into the market.
Do we have any early success stories? How much have such models been able to attract in terms of pension funds so far?
Well, I guess with this model, with InfraCredits, they've been able to attract about 40 billion naira or plus of pension fund money in a number of projects, about 4 or 5 projects, right, in power, in gas, in transport logistics. So yes, there have been a couple of success stories, and we're looking to do more.
We'll certainly look forward to that. So how do we scale this? Do we need more InfraCredit type organizations, or do you think that it gets to a point where the ecosystem itself begins to form in a way that is just attractive for pension funds?
Yeah, so it's an ecosystem issue, and we need to build the ecosystem. So some of the things that we speak about and with InfraCredits and with some of the pension funds, that after a while, the pension funds won't need the guarantees because they will be used to this asset class. But infrastructure is a new asset class, which the pension funds are still trying to understand. And there's been a lot of training. So not only does InfraCredit do this enhancement, there's a lot of training that happens. So the ecosystem needs to develop in the sense that there is training. We're comfortable with the companies. We're comfortable with the structures. There are guarantees, either full or partial guarantees. And then the ecosystem will evolve. I think it's getting comfortable. We need to realize it's a fairly new asset class. But as we begin to dip our toes in the water, bit by bit, we'll begin to see expansion of that.
We've certainly come a long way, and I was just looking at this Augusto & Co. report suggesting that we could be at 20 trillion in assets by 2023, I believe. So that's great. But as you reflect on how far this industry has come, what do you think are the key milestones that we can really build on in terms of taking it to the next level, in terms of making an impact for the broader economy?
Yeah, thanks. So many people focus on the amount, which is good. But for me, it's the consistency and the structure of the industry. So the industry has grown to a portion whereby we can see that the money is growing, it's safe. So that is a big major milestone. I mean, before 2004, pensions were haphazard. You didn't know how much you were contributing or where it was going to. But now we can see that, and that's a plus. I think the next thing is to see how pensions can begin to affect the larger economy. And we are seeing a bit of that more in terms of what we're trying to do in the private equity space, in real estate, in infrastructure. And it's not as fast as people would like, but I guess it's getting there. And I guess we'll see more of that. But first thing we need to applaud is the consistency, the structure, and the safety of the funds. Right. And that is a big issue.
It is a great structure, no doubt. One of the milestones of democracy, if you like, because obviously this is something that happened about 5 years after 1999. But as we move forward, though, we want to see more impact. Can you speak to any major activities that we should be focusing on in terms of the activities of pension funds moving forward?
Yeah, I think more impact investments. There's an ecosystem building about more impact investments, more SDG, focusing on SDG investments,
right.
Focusing on micro pensions, because we think that that's the engine of growth for pensions, just in terms of allowing people who are micro businesses to be able to save for the future. So that coming in the horizon, and it's something to look forward to.
We certainly look forward to it. Thank you so much for joining us today. Oguchi Aguda is the CEO of the Pensions Operators Association of Nigeria.